I have survived wars, famine, and men who wanted me dead for reasons well understood. What happened after we discussed peace on that beautiful cold morning in the Henka Empire was different, because it began with laughter, and it ended with my soul being taken while my body was allowed to walk away. My name is Tamashi. At the time, I was one of the youngest members of our empire's governing council. Incredibly, I was tasked with military affairs despite my age, and that alone would have made the journey dangerous. But I did not travel alone. Kifu rode beside me. We had just concluded a diplomatic meeting that should have ended in blood. Two empires, both exhausted, both proud, finally agreed to stand down. No blades were drawn and no armor dented. When the final seal was pressed into wax, Kifu leaned back in his chair and smiled like he had won a private game.
"Greatest victory of my life,"
he said as we departed. I told him that was arrogant. He laughed.
"Anyone can kill Tamashi. It takes real talent to make another man lower his sword without touching it."
That was Kifu. Brilliant, loud, and reckless. He was too handsome for his own good and fully aware of it. He treated politics the same way he treated combat, like something already beneath him. Where I weighed every word, Kifu spent them freely. Where I held my posture like armor, he slouched through life like it owed him comfort. He flirted with women no matter where he was, claimed every scar on his body had a better story than the last. And yet, when the negotiations turned tense, it was Kifu who leaned forward, calm and smiling, and said exactly the right thing. He used to always say I was born old. I used to always say he wouldn't live long enough to regret being young. Somehow, we were both wrong. Anyway, we rode home through the mountain forest, the longer way around. It was safer from rival scouts, though far more isolated. There were narrow dirt paths and heavy fog clinging onto the trees like a damp cloth. Kifu rode ahead, as always, singing badly, changing the words when he forgot them, laughing at himself when I didn't respond to his nonsense.
"You know,"
he called back,
"when we return, they'll carve our names into stone. Yours will be very serious, and mine will be surrounded by beautiful women."
I told him to watch the path. He told me to learn how to enjoy a victory. At some point, the fog thickened, pretty heavily actually, but not suddenly, very slowly, very deliberately, until the road ahead softened and the trees on either side leaned inward, their shapes blurring at the edges. Kifu reined his horse to a stop. "Do you hear that?" he asked. I listened. At first, nothing. Then, faintly, metal. Not clashing, not striking, a dull rhythmic sound like armor shifting with breath.
"It's ahead,"
Kifu said.
"just off the road."
I narrowed my eyes into the fog. No banners, no voices.
"That's what's strange,"
He replied, an uneasy grin creeping up on his face.
"A patrol that doesn't announce itself?"
We dismounted together. I tied the reins high on a cedar branch. Standard procedure. Neither of us spoke it aloud, but we both felt it. Something here demanded caution. The sound came again, closer now. Kifu stepped forward instinctively, hand resting on his sword. I reached out. "Stay within sight,"
"I am,"
he said.
"You're the one who's fading."
The fog moved, not drifting, but parting. Just enough for me to see Kifu take 3 more steps, then 4, then the space between us folded, quietly, like a door closing without a sound. "Kifu," I said. No answer. I advanced 1 step at a time, counting them, keeping my breath slow. The sound of armor stopped. The forest seemed to hold itself still. I was no more than 10 paces from where he'd been. "Kifu." The fog swallowed my voice whole. I pushed forward and emerged into an empty road. No footprints, no disturbed earth, no fog where he had stood, just absence. By dusk, the air had gone still. Too still. I built a fire where the path should have rejoined, certain that he would return laughing, already apologizing, already drunk. Kifu had a talent for surviving his own poor decisions. Night passed without him. Morning came without birds. When I stood and looked for the road we had traveled, it was gone. In its place was a smooth, downward curving path, well worn, intentional, as if it had always been there. And at the end of it was a village I did not remember passing. I stood at the edge of the path for a long time listening. No wind, no insects. Just the faint sound of my horse shifting behind me. The village below looked lived in, roofs intact, paper lanterns hanging beneath the eaves, barely moving. I could smell cooking rice drifting upward, warm and familiar. And for a moment that scared me more than silence ever could. Villages do not appear overnight. Not in the mountains, not without reason. I descended slowly, hand resting near my sword, more out of habit than fear. As I passed between the buildings, I noticed people watching from doorways, not hiding, not staring, just observing. Their eyes followed me with the same quiet interest one might have giving a passing animal. A woman bowed to me as I passed. Her timing was slightly off, a breath too late. When she straightened, she smiled. She was holding it longer than necessary.
Traveler,
She said.
you are intact.
I paused. I'm looking for my companion, I replied. He rode ahead of me, her head tilted, not of confusion, consideration,
Many arrive separately.
she said.
Few arrive complete.
I thanked her and moved on, telling myself it was only poor phrasing. Mountain villages often spoke strangely. Isolation kinda did that to people. But as I walked deeper, I began to notice others. A man sweeping the same patch of dirt again and again and again. His hands shook, and not with age, but with effort, as if the motion itself required thought. A child watched me from behind a post, his eyes wide and unblinking. When I met his gaze, he leaned closer, studying my face. Everyone just seemed to stand too near, not threateningly, just close enough to feel measured. A group then gathered near the center of the village as I approached, not blocking my way, simply present. Their clothing did not match. Some garments were old, others oddly styled, as if borrowed from other places, different lives. One man stepped forward, his face almost symmetrical. Almost.
You come from conflict.
Yes,
Did you feel relief
another asked.
when it ended?
I did. A third voice, closer now.
Where did you feel it?
I frowned. Feel what?
The relief.
She said gently.
Was it here
She gestured at her chest.
or elsewhere?
I did not answer. They murmured quietly among themselves, repeating my words, not mocking, testing them, changing small pieces of what I said.
You are welcome to stay. Night approaches.
I cannot, I replied. I'm missing a man. At that, something changed. Not hostility, but recognition. Several villagers turned toward the house near the far edge of the square. Their movements were smooth, practiced, as one. And then I saw him. Kifu. He stepped out into the lantern light. He looked unharmed, armor intact, hair tied back the way he always wore it after a long ride. He smiled when he saw me, and, that familiar, arrogant smile I had been bracing myself for since the night he left.
There you are.
he said.
You vanished.
Relief hit me so hard my knees nearly gave out. Kifu, I said, my voice breaking despite myself. Where did you go? He laughed. Just a fraction too late,
I followed the smoke.
he said.
You should have seen your face when I came back and you weren't there.
Something in his tone was wrong. And not just the words, those were wrong too, but the weight behind them. I stepped closer. He did not.
You camped without me. That was careless.
I opened my mouth to respond, to scold him, to embrace him, to strike him for the fear he'd caused, but the words tangled in my throat. Because Kifu had always teased me first, always. You look terrible, I finally said. I was worried. He nodded.
Yes, you would be.
That was when I noticed it. He remembered that I worried, but not how. The villagers watched us in silence now, their attention sharpened, focused. There was a low hum deepening slightly, like pressure in my ears. We should leave, I said quietly. Kifu hesitated. His eyes flicked past me, not to the path, but upward, toward the dark space between rooftops, toward nothing I could see. Then he smiled again.
Stay.
He said,
They want to ask you some things.
and somewhere behind the village where no one stood, I became aware of being observed. Not watched, but measured. The villagers then guided me and Kifu to a longhouse near the center of the village. No one touched us. They never needed to. The door slid open with a soft scrape. Inside, lanterns burned low, their light uneven, shadows bent ways they shouldn't. The air smelled faintly of metal beneath rice and smoke. We sat on opposite sides of the low table. The villagers arranged themselves around us in a loose circle, close enough that I could hear their breathing, and it wasn't synchronized, but attempting to be. One of them poured tea. The liquid trembled slightly in the cup, as though it resisted settling,
You carried a man.
an older woman said, her face drawn too tight across her skull.
Authority shapes the soul.
I carry duty, I replied. She smiled.
That is what it tells itself.
Another leaned forward, eyes bright.
When you kill, where does the part of you go that survives?
Kifu laughed way too loudly.
You people ask strange questions. Where I'm from, we drink first.
A ripple of murmurs passed through them.
He deflects.
One whispered,
He always did.
another replied, and then froze, realizing what she said. I turned to Kifu. What happened after we separated? He had a sudden face of confusion, blinking a bunch of times and seeming to search for the words of what to say.
I found the village.
That's all?
Yes.
No annoyance, no sarcasm, no complaint. That was wrong. Kifu could complain about the sky if given time. You slept? I pressed.
Yes.
Did you dream? He hesitated again.
I don't think so.
The villagers leaned closer at that.
Dreaming is inefficient,
The man with the almost symmetrical face said.
but you still do it.
Not all of us.
Another corrected quietly. Oh, did a sharp chill run through me. I studied their faces. Too many expressions held too long. Too many eyes focused on me in the same way. What happens, I asked slowly, to those who stop here? The circle went still, not frozen, completed. The woman nearest me raised her sleeve. Her arm bent the wrong way at the elbow, not broken nor injured, simply shaped by an incorrect memory of bone.
Here?
She said, looking around at the other villagers in the room. I was tempted and followed her gaze, looking at the others as well. my eyes instantly landing on all of the inconsistencies in the room. A man whose mouth moved a fraction of a second before his words. A girl whose eyes reflected light differently, like shattered glass. An elder whose shadow lagged behind his movements. It was quite unsettling.
We remain.
They said together, their words perfectly synchronized. My hand slid to my sword. The faint scrape of the hilt against the wood rang through the longhouse, too sharp, too loud, like the room had been waiting for it. Though the villagers did not retreat, several stepped closer.
Does it hurt
One asked gently.
to feel whole all of the time?
Another tilted his head.
Is it heavy?
The elder's eyes never left my chest.
We are close,
She said.
but not complete.
A pressure crept into the space between us. Not hostility, expectation. The space above the lanterns bent, not visibly, not clearly, but enough to make my eyes ache when I tried to focus. Like heat distortion without heat. Something was there, watching. The villagers did not look up. They already knew where it was,
They do not interfere.
the elder said.
They observe outcomes,
Why? I demanded.
because creation requires error.
A voice, not spoken but present, pressed against my thoughts. Not words. Pressure. Interest. Kifu suddenly stood,
I think
he said carefully.
that something is wrong with me.
The villagers turned toward him in unison.
No.
They said.
Something is missing.
We're leaving,
You cannot.
the elder replied.
We are too close.
To what? I asked. She met my eyes,
To you.
and for the first time the thing above us moved. Not toward us, around us, as if circling a specimen. Kifu grabbed my arm. His grip was strong, empty.
They told me.
He whispered, panic breaking through the calm.
They said that I was almost right. They said that I just need reference.
My blood went cold. What reference? He looked at me, and I understood. The lanterns dimmed, not all at once, one by one, as if something were deciding how much light was necessary. The longhouse felt smaller, the walls closer, the air heavier. Kifu's hand tightened on my sleeve.
Tamashi.
He whispered, the way he had when we were boys, when the world felt too large and the night too close.
Don't look at them too long,
I swallowed, hard. Why?
because they're deciding where you end.
The villagers were no longer sitting. They stood around us now, too near, their curiosity naked,
You carry it tightly.
the elder said, stepping closer.
Most fracture under repetition.
Another voice followed, almost eager.
You're not leaking.
A third leaned in, nose inches from my chest.
Where do you keep it?
Kifu slowly stepped away from me, just one pace. Enough. Kifu, I said quietly, get behind me. He shook his head,
I can't.
he replied. His voice sounded practiced, rehearsed.
I've tried that already.
The chills ran down me once again. I now assumed a battle-ready position, ready to strike. The watchers pressed closer, not seen but felt. Like standing beneath a vast shape in fog, knowing it could lower itself at any moment. My stance now strong, ready to strike. The villagers once again didn't recoil. So I struck, the blade cutting into the nearest villager's shoulder, and it stopped wrong instantly. It wasn't bone, nor flesh. It felt layered, resistant, as if the body had been assembled from remembered instructions rather than grown. The villager did not scream. He stared at the wound with rapt attention.
Oh,
He whispered.
that's how it separates?
Hands grabbed me, too many. They seized my arms, my wrists, my shoulders, fingers digging into my joints, nerves, old scars from previous wars, not attacking, testing, mapping. My vision shook, pressure flooded my chest, something pulled. I roared and lashed out, throwing elbows, pommeling and throwing my blade, cutting, breaking free, forcing space. One villager fell, another twisted the wrong way, another clung to my back like he was afraid to let go.
Don't damage him.
One said sharply,
We still need alignment.
another hissed. I tore free and ran. And when I got outside, the village had changed. Paths bent inward, doors opened into walls. Lanterns multiplied overhead, swinging slightly, watching. Villagers poured from every structure, hands reaching, mouths asking questions too intimate to answer.
Does it ache?
Is it loud inside you?
Something dragged at me, not my body, me. I stumbled and then the world lurched sideways. I was no longer inside myself. I stood behind my own eyes. My body burst from the tree line into the open mountain road. My horse waiting, my campfire still smoking. I watched my body slow, turn, look back, and I understood it wasn't looking at the village. It was looking at me, eye to eye, empty. The village behind it began to shut down. Lanterns went dark in sequence, houses dimmed, edges blurred, structures folded inward, dismantled with clinical calm. Above it all, the watchers drew close. Their presence was immense now, satisfied.
We finally separated continuity.
Something murmured, not aloud, but everywhere.
A very stable extraction. We have it.
I tried to move, tried to scream, tried to return, but I was already among others. Shapes, presences, fragments, souls gathered in the quiet dark, waiting, listening, and now telling this story of how I arrived.